everybody, it is Calxiyn here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you should subscribe for more My Hero Academia reaction and discussion videos. Before we get into it, let me just remind you guys that if you want to see my full-length reaction to the entirety of the episode, that is up on Patreon. It is a timer and subtitle reaction that you basically press play when I press play, and then you get all synced up. But this reaction is going to be like my coolest moments, my biggest moments, the highlights, if you will, the reaction highlights, and then afterwards, we're going to do a little bit of a discussion, talk about the episode, theorize a little bit. And so yeah, that is basically it from me. I'm super excited for this one because we're gonna get some Class A versus Class B action, I think. And so I'm really excited, but yeah, let's just get into it. Maybe Deku just needs the power of feelings. Then he'll be okay. I love seeing this old wielder. Like, this is so cool. Aww. 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 Oh, when All Might dies, he's gonna be in the dream. I don't like that. Alright. Fight. Yeah, that was weird. So I guess maybe, maybe he's giving, like, extra lessons to that other guy. Aww, this is very nice and wholesome. Oh, look at Uraka, like, just staring at him lovingly. Oh. Oh, so she was thinking about his interaction with her. I see. Ooh. Is it the guy that was with Aizawa? Yeah, it's him! So that's what he was talking to him about. Cool! Oh my god, that's spicy. That's cool. Oh guys, what if he's the mole? What if he's the mole at UA? Imagine. Well, he wants to transfer. He kind of looks sketchy, so. See? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to say that you're bad. You're not bad. Oh. Oh, see, he wants to help people. He's not the mole. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, sir. Okay, so he's gonna be against Deku. That's even better. I like it. He's so hyped. He's just like the hype man, eh? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Uraka's reading my mind. She's speaking my language, you know? Right now, it's time to fucking fight, yeah! Oh, I love his little book. Ah, no! Oh, damn, he just went for it! Oh, damn! They followed the birds! Oh, dear. Okay, well, thanks for explaining your evil plan. What? Oh, cool. See? Like, if that guy had a kid with, like, Todoroki, like, then they'd have air, fire, and you know what I mean? That's what I meant earlier. Oh, damn. Oh? Wait, what? Wait, what happened? I missed it! What happened? Alright guys, let us get into the discussion now. Now, I'm not feeling very well, so I pulled out my VTuber model because I don't have the strength to get dressed or do my makeup or anything. I really shouldn't be recording, but I also have no choice because I have exams. And so that is where we are with that. But we start with this episode. Well, first of all, they did a recap, and I'm like, sir, I don't need all this. Like, I don't need this much of an explanation of, oh, what happened last episode. Like, I don't need that much of a recap. You know what I mean? I don't have the memory of a goldfish. I remember what happened last week. But yeah, we basically start with Deku saying he couldn't get back to sleep. And then we have him talking about, like, his dream. The moment our hands touch, like, this is at least a new shot. So this is fine. Yeah, that sort of bothered me a bit. At the end of the dream, so they see all the past, the holders, I guess, holders of the power, all the predecessors, right? And then apparently this is supposed to be All Might. That seems to be implied because Deku says, like, you were there too, but you weren't fully realized yet. And, like, could that be because, I mean, he's not dead. Like, All Might's not dead. I feel like that everyone in here is dead, right? Like, that's the thing. And in terms of the shadows, I've been thinking more about it, and I wonder if this is actually the future, not the past. Like, these aren't the people that was after, like, this guy, but instead these are the holders of the future, and that's why they're in shadow, because it's like fate has not brought Deku to them yet type of thing. Because, like, All Might's here and he's not dead. So what if, like, this purple one is actually Deku? Because the little ears sort of remind me of Deku. And then this red one is, like, the predecessor of, wait, not the predecessor, the successor of Deku. Like, that would kind of be interesting if these weren't, like, holders from the before, but they were actually, like, signals of the future. I really liked this shot. I don't have anything else to say about it. I just thought that it was pretty. But yeah, then we get into this big conversation that All Might has with Deku, and, like, All Might's basically like, yeah, like, that all sounds familiar, nothing too crazy, until, like, the crazy part happens, which is that, like, the very first holder actually, like, spoke to him directly, which is apparently, like, not a thing. Like, not a thing that All Might remembers having experienced. Yeah, so All Might goes on to say that that's only happened to Deku, and then we see this flashback with All Might and his master. And so, master, what do you mean by vestiges? And so, like, these are, you know, like, I guess manifestations. It's almost like, I guess it's like Cork Heaven. Like, this is where they go, but I doubt it's, like, actually them in, like, an occult way where they're, like, ghosts. But rather, she says that Cork probably has a lot of energy saved up, wanting to do this or that, wanting to become this or that. So maybe it's, like, manifestations of, like, their memories and who they were versus them, like, actually being ghosts. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, instead of them being ghosts that are just chilling in there, that would be a computer's interpretation of me, right? And so I feel like that this is almost the same way. Like, this is, like, the shell, or, like, the manifestation of what the Cork basically, like, remembers of the holders and sort of puts them together based on that, kind of like little pieces of data, right? Feelings always come before power. The feelings of those who cultivated it are recorded as part of the power, right? So again, it's kind of like data, like fantasy data, basically. Is it something a cult? It's an impossible dream, right? So I don't think it's a cult in the sense like, oh, it's a ghost, right? It's a ghost of All Might. No, but instead, it's almost like the memories, like what the power remembers. It sort of records like the shell of a person. So I really like bringing up this. I wonder if it has something to do with the quark singularity doomsday theory. From parent to child, quarks mix and evolve as they're passed down throughout the generations, right? The theory states that they will create more powerful, more complex quarks someday, right? And so I found that to be very interesting because this is sort of connecting the Todoroki through line, or I guess the Todoroki family through line, with like what's going on with Deku. So I thought that that was a pretty good connection. We also see the brother, the mysterious brother, right, that was mentioned last episode that we all think is Dobby, so he's in there, so that's cool to see. And I was right about the fact that he's an all-fire sibling, because that was part of my theory, was that, you know, we have an all-ice sibling, and so it would only be like, you know, foil-ish, if that makes sense. It would only be like a foil if we also had an all-fire sibling, right? And so I felt like, oh, well, that would make sense, and then Dobby's the all-fire sibling, and so he would technically, like, almost be stronger than Todoroki, because he's just all fire and he can like ramp it up like hotter than Todoroki can in a sense, whereas Todoroki's more like balanced, I guess you could say. And so that's why like Dobby's just like a machine, like he's a fire machine, you know, he's crazy, right? And so that could be why, because he's like all fire cork all the time type of thing. But yeah, the singularity thing, I like how it comes in to like the Todoroki plot line is being reconnected to the Deku plot line. And I also think that it could be interesting because like, okay, so what if Todoroki has a kid with someone who has like an air cork, and like I joked about this being Avatar, but you guys know what I mean, like an air cork and like an earth quirk, then you have the avatar, right? And so I think that that's sort of an interesting thing to think about. It's like, as, you know, quirks get passed down more and more, like you could have basically like people that are magicians in a fashion, like people that are basically magic because they can just do so much shit. And so I think that that's really interesting. See, and there were two I couldn't see at all, and you were kind of blurry too. And so here's what I'm thinking. This kind of sounds like a little bit of a crack theory, but like, doesn't this remind you of Bakugo? I don't know, wait, yeah, Bakugo. I thought I said Bakugan, and I'm like, no, that's something else. Doesn't this remind you of Bakugo? I wonder if it's possible that if this is All Might, because All Might's blurry because he's not dead, but what if this is the future? What if this is Deku when he's a fully realized, like, hero, if that makes sense, when he's at 100%, right, and he's, like, buff and stuff, because, like, that hair, I guess the ear, it kind of reminds me of the ears in his costume, maybe that's not right, but doesn't this remind you of Bakugo? So what if, like, I don't know, like, Deku's like, fuck this shit, I'm out, and then he gives it to Bakugo or something, because wasn't that, like, almost the motion, like, wasn't that almost the plan before? And so I wonder if that could be the thing, that this is, like, the future holders, right? And, like, this is almost, like, a manifestation of All Might, maybe when he was a bit stronger, you know? And so I wonder if this could be Deku when he's at his strongest, and he's, like, in shadowed in purple and stuff, and, like, this is, like, adult Deku. Well, the question would be why Deku grows taller than poor little Bakugo, right? Bakugo just stays like the height that he's at forever, but I mean, it does happen. That's not that weird, but yeah, I don't know, just some food for thought. I don't know. So we have Aizawa here with brainwashing guy, and I thought that this was interesting because they're both sort of like talking to students independently, and I guess like Aizawa's sort of like helping him transfer and stuff, so it totally makes sense. This rubbed me the wrong way though. Like, this just seemed kind of weird because he's like, don't make it sound like you've been caught having an affair, and I'm just like, that's just a weird thing to say. Like, again, I don't think it's like, oh, like, My Hero Academia is problematic. Like, I don't think that it's like that or anything, but I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Like, it was just kind of a weird thing to, I don't know. It was just kind of a weird thing to say. But yeah, so Shinso was with Aizawa before, apparently, or he's like with him now anyway. And so yeah, they're both kind of being caught, right? And so like, you know, like he's with him, right? And so like, you know, like I guess that's sort of what they're getting at. You should go early to warm up, because I guess he doesn't want Midoriya to be like on to him or like spoil the surprise for training, because that's the whole thing, is that Shinso is coming to like training later and everything. But yeah, I just found that like one piece of dialogue kind of weird. Maybe when it's delivered in English it'll be a little bit different, but yeah, anyways, I just thought that was interesting how they're both sort of taking on students like privately, and I could almost see like Aizawa seeing Shinso as maybe like very like similar to him, almost like his, not his successor in the same way as All Might and Deku obviously, but like almost in that like mentor type way. Like I could see Aizawa taking him on, even the little eye circles remind me of the same, but I could see it more as like people thought that Aizawa's power was also like almost villainous in nature, right? And so like people say that about him as well, and so that's why like they could be like wanting to, you know, he wanted to mentor like him, or he wanted to be mentored by him, I guess I could say. Like it could go both ways in like that sort of regard, where he wanted to be mentored by Aizawa, but Aizawa also took him on because he sees in him like himself as a kid, and like that sort of same like stigma around the quirk he has. I don't know, I'm just saying. So then everyone has some costume upgrades, and what's interesting about this is like the invisible girl has to be naked, right? So she's just naked in the winter cold. Is there really nothing they can give her to avoid that? But anyway, and so it's nice to see that everyone has like outfit additions, except for I think Ida, because Ida was already like nice and toasty anyway, but everyone else has some extra stuff. Even Bakugo has some extra stuff. Again, like, I don't know, doesn't that red one kind of seem like Bakugo, guys? Is it just me? I know that that's so weird, but what if that's how like the manga ends or something? Like, what if Deku, like, I don't know, did the thing, saved the day or something, like against the big bad guy, and he's dying, and then he passes his quirk, like he passes it on to Bakugo. Like that could be, I don't know, that could be a thing. I don't know what kind of thing, but it could be a thing. Like that's sort of how I'm sort of thinking about it. Like, you know, with the big bad like final battle type thing, and like Deku like has done his job, and he's like Kacchan, it was always supposed to be you, like type of thing, and then it's like all emotional and stuff. Anyway, but yeah, I like the scene between them two, because Deku's just so nice. Still, you know, like, oh, like, does it like come with heat protection? And like he talks about sweating, which is actually very interesting because, like, obviously, like, you know, you would kind of need, like, him to still be hot enough to sweat, whereas if you're cold, you don't sweat, right? And so that was, like, a cool little detail. And I like this. Don't praise it. Like, fuck you. I do like Bakugo's attitude, but yeah, I don't know. Still, I still wonder if he'll, like, lighten up a little bit, because he's just sort of, I don't know, he's just sort of like a hard ass a lot of the time. But I think that he'll lighten up. That was a nice, like, interaction between them anyway. So I thought that this was funny. So Deku starts talking about Hatsumi, and Uraraka, like, freaks out because she's remembering her and, like, her landing on top of Deku, I guess, and she's just like, get back, and I feel like she means that as in, like, negative thoughts go away, like, I don't need to think about that, I'm not jealous. Like, I feel like that's very much how that is. So I thought that was, like, a cute little scene, and it seems like that nobody else really noticed it. Like, nobody else seems to, like, really know if that makes, I don't even know, like, if Uraraka truly knows or wants to acknowledge her feelings either. But anyway, we get this little tumbleweed effect, and I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, like, you guys are all so relaxed. Are you underestimating us? And then we really see the class of Class B, because we've seen some of them before. I don't know what this means. The wave is definitely on our side. Like, I wonder if they meant like the motion, the vibe, like the wave of fate type thing. Like, I wasn't really sure what, like, that was supposed to be. But anyway, yeah, so we see the class to a deeper extent, and we'll get, like, better looks at everyone in a bit when they, like, pair off into the teams. But we have Pokemon Trainer, Mushroom, Plant Girl, Model that we've seen before, and, like, we've seen this guy before. We have a girl from Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, or whatever it's called. Yeah, we have some new characters too that, like, we haven't seen, I don't think, any of these people before, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, nice to see some Class B action. And, like, I wonder how long this is gonna take, because this entire episode focuses on, like, one team, and, like, their fight's not even done yet. And so I wonder, are we gonna get, like, 4 episodes of this? Like, is this fight an arc? Like, is this, like, a whole arc? Are we gonna be here for, like, 5 episodes doing, like, 1 team an episode? Even 2 teams an episode would still mean that we're not done this until, like, episode 5 or 6, right? So I don't know. So yeah, we get some people introduced to us. These guys look pretty normal. I'll be excited to see what their quirks are. I really like this guy. Like, this guy reminds me a lot more of the people with quirks that we saw in Deku's, like, dream, right? Like, people that were, like literally, like, just looked, like, so monstrous and unhuman. I mean, he doesn't look like a monster. He's cute, but you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Then we have Model Girl, this girl that I'm lovingly calling Pokemon Trainer. I will not know all their names. Not right now, anyway. I'll do my best. Yes, and I love Mushroom Girl. She has a really cool design. The Beast guy, this guy looks more like techie, if that makes sense. Like, he seems like he has that thing over his eye, probably some computer technology. What do you call it? Oh god, what's the support class where they make all the stuff, like the stuff that Deku has? Anyway, like some sort of assistive technology, right? Like how Deku has, like, the gloves and stuff from that other class. Maybe this guy, like, I'm sure that's not literally, like, his eye, right? Like, he has stuff from the support class is basically what I'm trying to say. Yeah, this girl, I wonder, like, what her powers are, because it sort of looks scaly, but I don't really know. Then we have this guy who I think is, like, a perfect, like, foil to Kirishima, so that's sort of exciting. Then we have this guy who's just a manga panel, and so again, like, are quirks inspired by your personality? Because how does, like, biology know what a manga is? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, when you think about, like, fire, or, like, lizards, or water, or, like, you know, what Todoroki has, or even, like, what Uraraka has, gravity. Like, those are all fundamental principles of, like, the world, right? Like, gravity, ice, fire, explosions, like, those are all chemical reactions. Those are all fundamental principles of the world. Even, like, you know, you have, like, Tokiyami, right? Like, bird. Bird is, like, a biological, like, thing, but a manga's not. So, like, are some quirks, like, more personality? Like, did this kid just love manga at 5 years old, and so when he unlocked his quirk at 6, this is what he got? Like, what did he look like before? You know what I mean? Like, I've always wondered that. Like, are Are characters like Tokigami, were they born as birds, or did they unlock their quirk at age 5 or whatever, like Deku was talking about, like in the very early on when we find out that he was quirkless, right? Like how, like was this kid born a manga panel? Like anyways, I don't know, and I can't tell you. This guy looks like a Final Fantasy character. This guy looks like Vivi. Obviously, this is like, you know, the asshole from the class. I really like this character's hairstyle, and then we have this person that also has paper on them, so that seems to be the trend today. I thought that this was funny. He's like, look at this survey, we're kicking your ass, right? But it doesn't seem like they really care, right? I asked which people liked better, Class A's concert or Class B's super high quality play. Can you see it? We won by 2 votes. And it doesn't seem like anyone really cares, right? And so I thought that this was sort of funny. Just like, oh yeah, it's starting to change. People are starting to like us better. And I'm like, dude, does it really matter, right? Does it really matter that much? Because I haven't been paying attention, so there's nothing I can say to that. They do seem to want to try to rebuttal him, though. But this feels like, I kind of like this, though, because this feels like the pinnacle of, like, teen high school drama, and I'm kind of here for it. Like, I really do like it. And I love this. How I always just, like, shut the fuck up. I thought that that was a really funny scene, and they're just... Oh dear. And so yeah, I guess this is the teacher for Class B. I'm sure that we've seen him before. I just forgot about him. So sorry about that. But yeah, and so this is like where Shinso comes back in and him talking to Aizawa, right? A special participant. Ooh, right? And so look at them. They're so similar. I just love them so much. Yeah, so I wonder what you even do in the normal course, though. Like, what do you do exactly, right? Like, anyway. But yeah, so he's in normal course Class C. And so what do you do in the normal course? Because I remember, like, obviously support, they build stuff. And wasn't there, like, hero management? And so is this just, like, a more general course and then you decide you want to go in that stream later? Like, you start a normal course and then maybe you decide you want to be a hero manager and then you do that or whatever. Like, I wonder, what do the normal course people do again? I think I forgot, but you guys will tell me. And so yeah, I thought that this was pretty cool that he wants to transfer in the hero course. And like, look at Deku. Deku's like, good for you. Whereas this guy's like terrified, right? But he's like, good for you. Are those Aizawa's binding cloths? And so I guess that's like maybe to help like protect him a little more. Like, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't really have like a hero costume and stuff like that. And so I thought that that was like a nice little touch to it as well. And so what's interesting is I wonder if he could ask Shinso to brainwash him on purpose just so he can talk to the Vistages a little bit more, because like obviously that happened during like the festival and stuff. And so I wonder if he could be like, hey, can you brainwash me? I can't tell you why, but could you? You know, like just to help me out, right? I think that that could be kind of interesting. And I love this because it gives us a little bit of insight into his backstory, right? Because he's like, everyone's assuming that he'd use it for evil, like you can do bad things, right? Like that's the sort of attitude, right? No one know it was you, don't control us, okay? And it's like, everyone says that. And he sort of looks like, everyone says that. Like he's almost smiling, but I feel like he feels awkward. Like that, like touching your neck thing is a very like awkward body language, almost like ashamed body language. And so I feel like that he doesn't want to be a villain. You know, he wants to be a hero. He doesn't want to do bad. He wants to do good. But I also wonder if he could want to do good and then go down the path of bad, because that's how everyone sees him or assumes of him, like anyway. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Something not nice. Especially because we still don't know who the mole of UA is. We still don't know. And so I'm just saying. But anyway. And so yeah, he's basically like, fuck you. Right? Say a few words, Shinso. And then they're like, no. But saying we're friends just because we fought before, I'm not in a good sportsmanship like that. He's like, I really want this, so fuck off. Which I think is so funny. Oh my god. Sorry, but I'm desperate for this. And so Deku's remembering like what he said at the sports festival, and it's like, little does he know, right, that he was quirkless in the first place. And so I think that that was like a nice little callback to that. And so I wonder if they'll like bond some way. Like, could they bond? I don't know, because like Deku hasn't really told anyone about like the whole like you know, All Might stuff. And so I wonder like if he could tell him to convince him to help him brainwash him so he could see the Vistages and stuff like that. I want to become a proper hero and use my quirk to help others. See, he's a good guy. He just wants to help people. Let my boy help people, you know? And I'm afraid that he'll go go down a path of darkness. That's basically what I'm trying to say with that. But like, oh, this is really nice. All of you here are walls that I must overcome. And so that's not a nice way to think though. Like that's not a nice thing to say. But Deku smiles anyway. He's like, whatever, like let's do it. I don't know. Like he seems like he wants to support him. Seems like he wants to support him. And look at how he's clapping. He's like, you know what I mean? He's like very excited, whereas everyone else is like, fuck you. Like why? Like you just told, your speech was, we're not friends, bitch. Like that was his speech, you know? But yeah, we should brace ourselves. Yeah, and so it's like I'm looking at an early Roki. I wonder what that was like a reference to. I wonder, oh wait, Todoroki? Oh, so he's dragging him. He's saying that this was Todoroki's personality when Todoroki first came to the school? Is that what he's saying? Oh dear, that's funny. I didn't catch that. Oh no. So it seems like they're playing like almost like dodgeball. So I don't know if you guys had this experience, but also like wouldn't it be so cool to play dodgeball as an adult? I was thinking about that the other day. Like are there adult dodgeball leagues? Because I would love to, you know? Anyway, so it seems like it's kind of like dodgeball where like you catch someone and they go into the prison, but then you could like get broken out of the prison, like how dodgeball, like if you catch the ball, your whole team can like come out of the prison, or like one team can come out of the, or one teammate, I guess I should say, can come out of the prison. So I wonder if it was kind of like that. Like it seems like that's sort of how it worked. Once you imprison your opponents, that will count as a capture, but I wonder if you could like break the capture, you know what I mean? But I do like the little prison. I think that's like really cute. And so now we get the team. So see, this is the first fight and we're not even done, and it took up most of the episode. So I sort of wonder if it'll be like one team per episode. So we have Invisible Girl, Tokiyami, Momo, and Twinkle, and then we have Mushroom Girl, the model, the manga page guy, which I'm really interested in seeing how that goes. Then I'm so sad that we don't have Kirishima fighting against Class B Kirishima. I'm a little sad about that, but yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see what this guy does because he looks pretty normal. At the same time, it seems like he can make metal around his body, which reminds me of a Ruby character that was just introduced in Volume 9. Rhodes can do that, like make metal over the skin. So it seems like that's almost what he does. And so then we have like, again, this guy, I'm interested to see what he can do because it's not really apparent. I love this dragon person. Like we stan. I think that's like a great design. Her design's really great too. And I'm excited to see what like Final Fantasy Vivi does over here as well. And then we have Deku with Mineta. Obviously against Class B's, like basically his like class president, right? Like this is kind of like the guy that like reps hard for Class B, obviously. With Tech Guy, the girl I think that I like the design of, and then Shinso gets put on the team that goes against Deku, and then the team that fights with Kirishima, which obviously in this episode. I love this. Let us beat detestable Class A together. That's funny because Shinso obviously had the rivalry with Deku, which, you know, obviously Uraraka points out, which I thought was kind of funny. Their first rematch since the sports festival, huh? And so he's like, yeah! And that's it. Like, he's like, sure. He doesn't seem like too upset about it, whereas Uraraka seems a bit more concerned. I still have questions about the vestiges of One for All, but for now, right, I'm looking forward to seeing how Shinso will fight with his new abilities, and he has his little book out, and he's all excited to write it down. Like, Deku would be such a good hero manager, you know? Like, even, like, not as a hero himself, he would be such a good manager. Like, he takes care of everyone, he knows all their quirks. Like, it's really, really cute. I don't know. I actually found this conversation to be really fascinating just because, like, obviously, we want to root for Class A, but I actually think it would be more helpful if Class B won in this case. Like, I think it would be more helpful for Class A's character development just because you could have this thing of, oh man, they actually did beat us. Like, they're not just a bunch of losers, you know? I feel like that would be almost more impactful for Class A to actually lose this one and then be motivated to start being, like, better and start working harder, in a sense, right? Because, like, All Might makes a good point. Like, they've overcome many crises, but Class B can like stick to the curriculum because they're not interrupted by villains constantly. So there are perks, right? It's probably because they were able to cover the curriculum properly and they didn't run into much trouble. Exactly, right? And so it's like Deku's class has like practical villain experience, if you want to call it that, whereas like Class B has actually gotten to stick to school, right? And so it's very interesting when you think about that. And so I hope that Class B will actually win this one. Like, I think that they should, or at least make it a draw, like make it so they're evenly matched. And so they have a little little conversation about why Kaminari can't just go and light up, right? Like, he can't just, not light up, not like that. He can't just electrocute everything. And so they have a little conversation about that. They have a little strategy talk, which I thought was just nice, like, for the characters to all interact with each other. But then they see Vine Girl, and she's feeling her way through. Obviously, she's a decoy, but I do like seeing her quirk in action like this anyway. I don't like the idea of going after a girl, and then they get interrupted anyway, and the Beast grabs both her, and then, I was gonna say Kaminari, Kirishima as well. And so, yeah, poor Kirishima. But yeah, we took into consideration that Kodo would search for the enemy, and so I'm guessing that they followed the birds, right? And so that would be a feels bad man. And using her as a decoy, I snuck in to get close. Yeah, and so they were most worried about her because she seems to be able to insulate against his electricity, and so he just came in, right? And so there's this guy on his back, but I wonder, like, oh wait, no, we already knew what the guy did. The guy uses the air. I'm so dumb. I think we already saw, right, like one of the guys where I was like, you look normal. I think that he actually does the air thing, actually. Let me check, because I think he's on his back, right? He turns into a beast. Oh no, this is another normal guy. This isn't the normal guy that I thought before. Yeah, so we knew that this guy used air, but this is what I'm saying. Like, if this guy and like Todoroki like could theoretically have a baby, then you'd basically have like a third of an airbender, right? But yeah, so this guy, we already knew his powers. It was one of the other people, like two of the other people where I was like, I don't know what your quirk is. It was the guy with the like the chest plate, and then the other one that may have like the metal quirk. And so yeah, I've got a new move after improving my quirk, air prison. And so I thought that was cool. That won't let any sound in, so now he can't call the animals. So I thought that was like a pretty smart thing. But now like Shinso is starting his like brainwashing technique, right? All right, drive them out, right? And so that was kind of funny because he was using his voice to give that command, and then I guess that let the command like go into his brain, and now he's under control of Shinso instead. So he just like stops, like he just stops working, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I was so confused the first time. Like when I was doing my reaction, I was like, what happened? Was he brainwashed, right? So it wasn't even like by looking at him. It was like he talked with his voice. Like he talked, like Shinso talked with this guy's voice, and so he just listened and like let it get into his brain, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Maybe you could resist the brainwashing if you knew that it was Shinso talking, but because it was a comrade, there wasn't even like a psychological or mental block against it, and so he just like let him in, basically, and now he's like brainwashed. And so they should be able to deal with these guys pretty easily, except for Vine Girl, right? Now that like the Beast guy is like, you know, like incapacitated. So here's the thing though, it seems like that now Shinso is actually in the air prison, and we know that no sound can get out. And so I wonder if the Beast guy will be able to recover now that they have him in the prison, or the Beast guy will sort of be in stasis, but now Shinso can't brainwash anyone either. So it could be more evenly matched. Then you have Kaminari, who's obviously fighting and stuff. But yeah, and so you have this guy, and he's doing the air prison stuff, and he has him in the air prison, right? And so I feel like that maybe the Beast won't regain, like he'll still be brainwashed, but he won't be able to brainwash anyone else. And so yeah, who will win? I don't know. I like to see everyone watching as well, but I wonder if we'll even get into like the next couple classes, right? Because it seems like even in the preview it's focusing on them, and then we'll get to see what this person does. I think, yeah, so the Beast is back over here, so maybe that actually freed the Beast. That could be possible. But yeah, I'm really interested to see where we're going next. Yeah, this is like Paper Guy, and so I wonder what he does. I think that he's one of the ones where I'm like, what do you do? Yeah, and so they're still all just watching, and then there's Bakugo. So I sort of wonder, like, you know, are we actually gonna see like the second half fight, or is this gonna be like for a while, right? But then we also see like Shinso, and he's freed, and so that's something else to consider too. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see like who fights who and how far we get in the next episode and everything. And so yeah, you also see him holding the bandage, and that could also be like more protection and stuff like that, just because he doesn't have the hero armor. And so it seems like he gets freed, and then he can like fuck with everyone, right? And so I think that that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's it. I'm surprised this discussion went by so fast. Like, usually my discussions are like an hour. Should I elongate it somehow? Should I talk about pointless stuff? No. I just thought that this episode was pretty straightforward. I really like the Shinso, like, kind of backstory, like, not full backstory, but it's sort of like, oh yeah, you could do many bad things, like, you could do the bads, and he doesn't want to do the bads, he wants to do the goods, right? And so yeah, this was a really good episode. I really like the characterization, how everyone on the team interacted with each other, seeing more with Class B. It was just really nice. And so yeah, that is it from me, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed my brief little discussion. Well, to be fair, a lot of the first half of this episode, not a lot of the first half, but the entire first half of this like chunk of the episode was also like reviewing Deku's dream before it went into the intro. Like that took up a solid 4 minutes. So yeah, like that obviously, and then explaining the rules, that took like a while too. And so yeah, I hope that Class B wins. But that's it from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you guys for dealing with me, my VTuber model, and my sick self. I don't feel very good, but I'm gonna go give myself a Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup because I got through recording anyway, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!